Welch, and this is A Gardener's Notebook. Welcome back to an episode of In the Garden. We're actually out in the garden today, a few days late. As often happens when you have other projects cropping up in your life, garden maintenance can kind of take a back seat, and that's exactly what's happened here. Today we're going to prune back a lantana that desperately needs some assistance. My wife did one a while ago, which I'll show you some pictures of. It really does help to reinvigorate the plant and clean it up and just make it look a lot better. We're here in the front bed of the garden, and so this is the area right along the street, so it really does make an impression on people, so you want it to look as nice as possible. Now, looking at this mess, you might think, oh my god, there's no plant in here at all. But the fact is, you can see by the green here, there is a lantana plant in here somewhere. The fact is, this lantana probably needs pruned back every single year, and I have not done it in several years, just simply because it was doing fine and other stuff got in the way, and so it overgrown. And you see that the previous year's growth are these dead limbs here, and even they have growth on the very tips of them. Well, it doesn't do any good when the entire middle of the plant is full of all this dead material. So what I'm going to do today is basically just tear out all the dead stuff, and we're going to trim it back into a nice little circle here, and you'll see it'll look pretty sad when we're done, but I know by the other plant that we have over there that this will actually help to reinvigorate it dramatically, and it'll come back in a nice green mound again. This is a prostrate version of a lantana. It does not stand upright. It's designed to sprawl, and that it does, and it fills out nicely towards the street here, but it can lead to somewhat of a mess like this. And there you have it. We've trimmed back all the dead growth off the lantana. We have cleaned up any of the grass that was growing up through it. It looks very, very bare, I understand that, and very, very brown, because we are hitting the height of our summer months here. But as you can see, there's still some little green growth there coming up from the base of the lantana plant. This will give it an opportunity now to resprout from its roots and come up and make a nice green mound again. And this actually has purple flowers on it when it flowers out, and it kind of spills over and off towards the street this way. And in the future, I'll just be more careful to prune this back every year and not let it get quite so overgrown as it's gotten. Now, this is where the potato plants were growing. As you can see, since it does get water, the grass has come in here a little bit. I'm gonna take a few minutes here just to pull out some of this nut grass before it gets too involved in there. I'm not seeing any sign of our sunflowers yet that I planted in this area, but we'll keep an eye out for those. They should come up. I think they're high enough that the drainage is good enough that they won't be affected like the potatoes were affected and kind of have too damp of an environment there. But we shall see. I'll show you the sweet potatoes next here, which are right behind me and to the right. So I started digging around where the other potatoes had been growing and had died back, and sure enough, turned up another really good-sized potato there. Very surprised again, but he's still good to eat, not rotten at all. So good thing. Oh, there's another one right there. Well, we know we can grow them here, that's for sure. So I guess it's just a point of making sure the drainage is a little bit better so the potato plants do better in the future. In the background there, you can see the sweet potatoes, and of course they're still going gangbusters, and I'm hoping underneath there is a lot of goodness. Again, it's maintenance day here in the garden, and so I started to take a look at some of the other equipment I have in the garden, and again, certain things you just install and you set and forget and they last forever. I'm very fond of these timers. These are mechanical clockwork water timers. I hook them to soaker hoses is what I do, so I can just walk out, turn it around for a 2-hour watering cycle, bam, like that, and then just set it and forget it, and it shuts itself off after 2 hours. Now eventually these do wear out. You can see the scale along the edges here. I noticed this one had just started leaking, and the trouble is with a timer like this is it has to hold back all the water pressure from the spigot. You don't want it leaking at all. That's just a waste of water. So once it starts leaking, it's pretty much time to replace it. So it just so happens, as you can tell, here's a similar timer, and if you look at them, this is the older one. This is actually the same company, but a later version of it. I obviously went back and got some more of these, and so here's a slightly different design. This one being the early one, this one being the later one. So what I'm going to do is, this was in an area that wasn't being used anymore for the soaker hose, and so what I've decided to do is I'm going to actually replace this one with this one, put new washers in it and everything. Actually, the washers look pretty good on this end, and then this one should last for another couple years, I would hope, out there. And basically, again, just turn it to 120 minutes, or however many minutes you want. It runs a nice set of soaker hoses for me and waters a large area of the garden without having to walk around with a hose. So here's the spigot where that broken timer came off of, that leaking one. Here's the new one I'm going to put back on there. A little tricky. I've got several Y's on here and everything for other soaker hoses. So first of all, you have to kind of screw it into the Y. And of course it wants to be 180 degrees from the way it was. Okay, so there we go. We turn it around, and then this end of the spring of the timer has a revolving coupling that we can use then to actually connect to the spigot itself. So that's what we're going to do here. Just going to connect that up. And again, once we get it on here, first thing we want to do is we want to check for leaks, because we don't want to waste water. It's nice having the convenience of the timer, but if the timer leaks, it really does us no good. So with soaker hoses, of course, you don't need to turn the water pressure on all the way. That's looking pretty good. It's slight leak, so just tighten it just a little further. Yep, that did it. And now we'll turn that up to 2 hours. Turn the pressure down a little bit on that spigot. We don't need so much for the soaker hose. I don't know if you can see it in the back here, but the soaker hose is weeping right here. And that's doing this whole bed. The other hose is going to another set of beds in another part of the garden. So that should get us by for another couple years, hopefully. I really am happy with this Gardena. This is a T120 mechanical timer. I'm actually toying with getting an electronic timer as well, just to simplify things, so I don't even have to come out and turn the timer. Basically, it'll just turn on by itself at various times in the day. But of course, whenever you add technology to something, there's always a chance that it's going to go wrong. So I might get one of those, try it out, and see how well it works, and if it works as well as these mechanical timers have for me in the past. So we're actually out of time for today's episode, but just a highlight of next week's episode. We're going to be planting this. I know, don't hate me. I did, and I went and I bought a prepared collection of plants to put in this particular area. I've been trying to fill out the shade areas of the garden for a long time, and frankly, when I came across this at my local warehouse store, I said, it's worth a try. It's very inexpensive. It's worth a try. What it is, this is Aquilegia, 6 Aquilegia, 6 Astilbe, and 6 Wachera that we're going to plant in this area, and you'll see that next week. We fitted it all up, we're ready to go, and I'm hoping this area actually faces my office window, and I'm hoping to green up and bring a little color into this area that was pretty much just a woodland garden with basically lots and lots of leaf litter and pine needles. So hopefully that will dress things up here. We're actually going to be talking about repairing a small hole in a soaker hose that goes in this area as well. So until next time, I'm Douglas E. Welch. This is A Gardener's Notebook. For more information, visit the website douglasewelch.com. Until next time, keep digging.